Okay, we're now going to look at extensions. What we're going to do here now is basically hide the sidebar. So if we show the activity bar, I'm using Control 1. When we come up here, we can get into extensions here, or when we come along here, search, file, we can also go down to preferences, extensions, and it's Control Shift X is the keyboard shortcut. So let's try that. Control Shift X. And the main one I use, a very useful one I just showed you before, was Live Server. So if you want to install something, you just type in here and it will find it for you. For me, it's already installed. But this Live Server, what this basically does is if you've got HTML files, you can then get what's called Open with Live Server that will set up your browser and it will be live connected. So in here, for example, we've seen that before. If I type, we see fetch JSON stream. If I type www here, do Control Save, notice how we can see it. So it's a browser that's connecting and watching. Live Share, that is a really useful one. I find that very, very helpful. So Control Shift X. Let's take that out. So we can see the ones I've got enabled. Bracket pair colorizer, very useful. We saw that before where it matches up the brackets so it's easier for coding. Let's hide that. For example, we can see here they're the same color, all of them, and when we click on here we can see the arrow sign and we can see good examples of them here. These can also be customized and we'll look at that later in settings, but that can be a really handy little tool to be using. So that's where it is in extensions, or in file, preferences, extensions, Control Shift key. Remove blank lines, for example, we can install that one in here, and the way we can access that is if we go to F1, we can see, for example, here I haven't used that for a while, so let's just do remove blank lines. Can you see there? That'll remove any blank lines. Beautify. There are many different what's called linters which shape your code. For example, if I have something out here, if I do F1 to load it in, I can see beautify file, and it will come, and because we're calling this an HTML file, it will nicely then shape up everything and bring everything into line. If you want to see a bigger screen, you can obviously go into View and Appearance, where's Toggle, Open View, Editor Layout, Toggle Word Wrap, Show Minimap. I know the command line is actually Control plus or minus. So if I do Control plus, it will bring it out, Control minus. So if we want to find where that is, what we do is we use our old favorite. We don't want that, so we can escape that. We do Control Shift P, and we'll talk about zoom, editor font in. There we can see straight away. So we can see view, zoom in, zoom out. Those are the keys, Control and equals or the minus sign. I called it sort of plus and minus. I was slightly wrong with that. They're next to each other. That's just after the 0. So Control and minus or Control and equal to zooms in, out, and zoom in and zoom out. I noticed when I didn't know where anything was, what I would do is basically do Control Shift P, the command palette, and I can then basically, we can scroll down here, you can see all the different ones. We're going to be looking at Emmet shortly. That's very good for shorthand typing. But extensions enable all extensions. So if I want to sort of see all the extensions enabled, there it is. We can look at recommended. It will come up with suggestions. So beautify, bracket pair colorizer. That's the theme Monachi Crete I use. Remove blank lines. I use some others for different languages. So for example, if you're doing WordPress, you can type in and see what comes up. You've got lots of different effectively plugins that you can use. So these extensions are very powerful. You can also go to Google and basically, or any search engine, and if you want to type in some sort of extension, VS Code, and you might say Emmet extension, click on that, it'll come up. And for example, if you want it, you can click on it and it will go to the Microsoft page, and then it will tell you the way how you can, if it's not already installed, it will give you more details. But if it's something you need, so let's go back again and look for something. Let's look for Rainbow, VS Code Rainbow. There's something to do with I remember rainbow brackets. Let's have rainbow indent. So let's have a look at that. So straight away it takes us to the marketplace. What we can do is install it, and it's going to ask for permission. And what that'll do is that'll color, as you can see here, the indentation. So we'll go back into our VS Code, clear away that, what's been enabled. Has that been bracket pair colorizer, Monakai Crete? Let's look at him here. Rainbow CSS, rainbow brackets, indent rainbow. That looks like it. So let's install that and see what happens. It's got nearly 1 million downloads, so it's fairly popular, to say the least. If we load that in, and we get a slight viewing here, we can see it's shading, and we can probably change those settings too. Let's just have a look. It's taking a while to install. I'll just stop the recording and come back when it's done. There we are, that's done. So let's go into a page, and straight away now you can sort of see the indentation through a rainbow effect. Now let's see if that can be actually modified. So how would we do that? I don't know, so I'll go Control Shift P and settings for rainbow. Nothing comes up there. Let's do indent rainbow, indent, convert, indent, indenting tabs, indenting spaces. What may come up is if we do JSON settings, preferences, open JSON, workspace settings, that looks useful. So if we click on that one, can't change there. No, it's not that one. Let's do another one. Control Shift P, JSON. It's one of these. Preference, workspace settings, JSON. Not that one. I have it as a shortcut on mine as Control 8. I want to go into that, so where can we set that? So if we come back down here, this one is not settable. Control Shift P. I'll find it later for a different sort of lesson. Preferences, color theme, rainbow setting. I think, or you might not be able to change it. So let's just do JSON preferences, default keyboard shortcuts, default settings, preference, open settings. Now I'll keep coming back. Well, we'll leave that one. But anyway, you can see how you can actually add that in. Let's just click on this and see if there's any information on it. So it's always quite good. There should be some guidance notes when you come onto these. And actually you can see here, you can change custom colors. So what we would need to do is if we copy and paste that, what we really want to do is get into the JSON settings, Control 8, where we can change them. User, that might be it. That's it. My mistake. So when you're in the JSON settings, which was user settings, if you notice we saw this before, workspace customizations, what I'm going to do is just copy and paste those entries. You can see those colors here. Well, what we can do is just change these colors and see the effect. So we need a comma here. That's fine. So we can change all of these. Don't know what colors these are, but we can just see what it's like. We do that, go back. Doesn't seem to have changed it. Maybe I need to play around with that a little bit more. Use indent rainbow colors. Let's go back to the indent rainbow section and see what it says. The delay, included language, plain text, tab mix. When there's a mix between spaces, have to be disabled colored setting. Let's just add these in, just see what happens. And that's what you can go. You can go into the JSON file, add these if you never know where they are. Comma, save. Not sure that seems a bit clearer. So anyway, those are the extensions. Let's put that bar on the right so you can see how I can change across. So we have our extensions here, and as I say, those ones that are enabled. If you want to uninstall it, you click on it and you can disable or uninstall it. And there's also recommended here, and also any ones we've disabled. So there's a lot more that we can, comes up with some good suggestions. Linting. So that is extensions. We see that in the activity bar here. We've seen it in File, Preferences, Extensions. We have the shortcut, keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-X. And if we wanted to change keyboard shortcut, we can go into keyboard shortcuts. And what were we looking for? Control keyboard shortcuts, short 3. We can always change, so if there's one that we find here, that was right, that was extensions. If we type in extensions, remove blank lines, you can see these all extensions here. Debug, 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 extensions, add recommended. We can configure all of these down here. Control Shift Q. You can even see when you click on this, you can change the keys for certain different things here. So install extensions. Let's see what focus on. Reinstall extension. Install extensions here. That's it. We can put a new code in for that. So as you can see, there's loads of extensions, most easily done with the activity bar, which you can hide or show as we've seen, and then you can add them. So that's extensions.